Hey, welcome back to the Nets. Unbiased views, they're fast, they're furious. Topics to be covered today: New Zealand versus West Indies, South Africa versus England, and Australia versus India. So, before we go anywhere, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you can. It would really help me a lot. Um, if you don't like the channel, leave me a feedback. I would like to know that as well. So, to start with, let's talk about the first game: New Zealand versus West Indies. New Zealand win the toss, put West Indies into bat, and West Indies have a dream start. Fletcher, who's probably celebrating his 33rd birthday today, comes in and plays 34 odd runs in 14 balls. They managed to get 50 in the first 3 overs, and then after that, it was the Lockie Ferguson show. Um, but in between there was this one Pollard who comes in and bats like he has been batting in the nets since Mumbai Indians and the IPL has ended. He came in and scored 75 in 37 balls and just mesmerized the audience out there. The limited number of audience that was watching the game anyway. But it was absolutely mind blowing, clean hitting, six odd sixes and four fours in his 75. And West Indies at one point of time, 75 for 5 didn't look like they would make 150, manages to get 180. For New Zealand, Lockie Ferguson again, 5 wickets for 23 odd runs, managed to steal the show. And this is what Lockie Ferguson does. The Bolts and the Saudis get most of the attention, and Lockie Ferguson comes in and manages to just blow away the opponents. This has happened way too many times to actually say that that doesn't happen anymore. Um, New Zealand coming into bat lost their first wicket. Sheldon Cottrell got them in the first over, and then after that, um, Devon Conway comes in, a new face for New Zealand, comes in and manages to show some confidence out there. Didn't really get a lot, but he still did enough to show potential out there. And the next one in was Glenn Phillips. Glenn Phillips comes in and makes another 22 odd. I think Glenn Phillips is they're preparing team for the future. Glenn Phillips again comes in with a very strong domestic season. He came in and he scored 22 odd. But the highlight of that game must have been Jamie Neesham, who comes in and scores 48 of 24 balls after Taylor had just been run out and West Indies thought that they had won this game. For West Indies, O'Shane Thomas managed to grab 2 wickets, but in the end, 180 wasn't something that they could have defended in the smallish grounds. So Lockie Ferguson managed to get the man of the match. I would have probably split that with Pollard as well, but nonetheless, the winning team always gets the man of the match. So that brings us to the second game: South Africa versus England. England's batting lineup is amazing. They are definitely a team to watch out for the next 3 World Cups. Not one, not two, not three, all 3 of them in the next 3 years. So they win the toss, they put South Africa to bat. Themba Bauma couldn't really do much, but Deacock picked up where he had left off for Mumbai, and Faf du Plessis comes in and makes 58 odd in 38 balls. Brilliant innings, but they couldn't really sustain that throughout. They made 90 odd in the first 10 overs, and then the next 10, they couldn't manage more than 85, 87, I think. The score was in the end 180 to defend, and they started really well. They started really well for defending 180. Managed to get Lind. So George Lind, a newcomer for South Africa, left-arm bowler, comes in and manages to get a wicket in his very first over. Definitely positive things for South Africa, considering Graham Smith and Boucher have taken over the management, and they are thinking about future. Considering the next World Cup is in India, Linde would definitely be a great addition, especially when the ball spins a little bit. A difficult kind of a track to bat on, but after that, Butler started taking the bowlers apart, and when he couldn't do it, he got out. In walks in Bairstow, and then it was just the Bairstow show. Stokes was amazing, and it's brilliant because Stokes was supporting Bairstow for a change. Usually, it's always the uh, Stokes show and everybody else is supporting him, but today it was the Jonny Bairstow show. 84 odd in 48 balls, and he pretty much saw them through in the end. For South Africa, Shamsi bowled well, Tabrez Shamsi and Linde bowled well, but I think they did lack a third spinner, third genuine spinner who could have probably put a stop to England in the middle overs. But Lungi Ngidi and Kagiso Rabada, well, they have proven themselves quite a bit on big stage, and they also had another newcomer who really had a bad 17th over, and that is where it was lost for South Africa. But again, not all bad for South Africa. They would definitely have brighter things to look forward to. I'm sure it will be a close series now. Now that both teams have got a chance to get a look and feel of each other, I think it will be a closely fought series. Which brings us to the last one, and that is India traveling to Australia. Australia versus India, the first ODI. Nothing went right for India. Right from the toss, India lost the toss. Australia came into bat and had probably the best opening partnership that we have seen in a while. 150 in 27 overs before India could manage a breakthrough. And it was just a bad day in office when you see somebody like Jadeja missing runouts. Bumrah didn't get any opening, no wickets in the first power play or in the first 10, 12 overs. Shami couldn't get any breakthroughs. Saini wasn't getting any breakthroughs either. Chahal was just taken apart to the cleaners, 89 runs in his 10. He managed to get Stoinis, but it was way too late back then. Stephen Smith came in, and Stephen Smith played an amazing knock, 66 odd on his favourite ground, Sydney. 66 balls, 105. Don't really associate that kind of an innings from Smith, but if that is how Smith is playing, the Test innings is going to be a long tour for India. On the other hand, when India came into bat, 3 wickets for Shami, but when India came into bat, it was it was a brilliant, blazing start by India. 3.2 overs, I think. In the first 5.2 overs, they had already reached 50, and that was when Mayank Agarwal lost his wicket. After that, there was a mini collapse. Kohli looked good, but then he couldn't really keep up with the score. And there was this one time that I think that Kohli was actually looking at the required run rate and he was playing for that, which is uncharacteristic of Kohli. He's usually the one who sets the tone, and then those numbers don't really matter to him. The scoring rate or the required run rate doesn't really matter to him. But he is human after all, and we haven't really seen the best of Kohli in 2020 at all, and I hope 2020 ends soon now. But I am keeping my fingers crossed that if India has to get anything out of this tour in Australia, Virat Kohli has to perform. So, nonetheless, a mini collapse. Shreyas Iyer couldn't really do as well. Rahul didn't contribute as much as either. And then Shikhar Dhawan, and just when we thought that India could probably just end up with 200 odd, Shikhar Dhawan and Hardik Pandya step in and they make an amazing partnership. And at one point of time, it felt like, okay, Hardik Pandya could actually take this through all the way. But then he was gone. Shikhar Dhawan tried to play an extravagant non-Shikhar Dhawan kind of a shot and got out, which brought in Jadeja, who is these days taking a little bit more time for himself to settle. But too many dot balls. Hardik Pandya was under pressure. He tried to hit out, and that was probably the end where Indians had thrown the towel. One of the things that I do notice is, because the Sydney cricket ground is so big and the general tendency of players from the subcontinent is to hit boundaries, we try to hit boundaries. We don't really focus on getting those ones and twos. So in this inning, there was close to 130 dot balls from India, which I feel is unacceptable when you consider that there were over 20 dot balls in 20 overs that were practically maiden. That is not going to win you games. But not as many ones and twos. And if you look at the Australian lineup, the first 150 overs, I don't think they had more than 10 boundaries or 12 boundaries altogether between the two batsmen. So that was the difference. They were actually scoring twos. And because they knew their ground so well, they knew the angles, they were actually scoring ones and twos. So again, taking nothing away from them, it was just a bad day in office for India, and we can only look up. But The big thing was the Smith and Warner factor, which was missing in the last time India toured Australia, is evident now. And if this is the form that they carry, then it's going to be a long, long, long tour for India. So let's just hope that Rohit Sharma does fly back in. Ishant Sharma has been ruled out for this entire Australia tour, a big loss for India. But again, I'm looking forward to getting some good news out of Rohit Sharma's departure. Hopefully, he goes back there and he is fit and he is good enough to join the squad. Last comment I would like to make is Pakistan tour to New Zealand looks like it could be severely jeopardized by the COVID protocol. Pakistan is on the verge of getting deported because they have failed to follow the COVID protocols. And then there was another mail that was sent by, or a phone call that was sent, made from Pakistan's embassy back into the Pakistan selection team, and that wasn't really all that good. That leaked, and New Zealand was not really happy about it. But the New Zealand foreign ambassador has made a statement that if Pakistan breaches COVID protocols again, they could very well, the entire squad could be deported. So on that note, I would like to end today's show. Just a quick highlight: all the players that have been playing in IPL have been the ones that have represented and played amazing in the last six for all the six teams that played today. That just shows you the impact of the IPL, that you play with the best and you probably raise your game up a lot more. On that note, I will end today's show. So once again, if you like my show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, give me a shout out. If you don't like it, leave it in the comments and I would be glad to improve my content. That's all that I have. Stay healthy and stay safe wherever you are. We will talk shortly. Thank you.